Hi, friends. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's Angela with Wild Violets Art. Tonight, I'm going to be working with some more new product out of the January to April mini catalog. There's so many beautiful things in there that make it really easy for the beginner crafter, or maybe even someone that wants to have their grandchildren work with them, or maybe even, if you've got arthritis and you're having a hard time doing the stamping that you used to do. The ephemera packs, the mix and match cards and envelopes, all make it so easy to have beautiful cards. So let me just show you. So if you go to page 10 of your new mini catalog, the January to April mini catalog, they have quick and easy options. And there it shows some beautiful cards that are made with this mix and match. And as you can tell, they've got pieces that are just great, super, super easy to put together. And then the best part is they give you all these card layout ideas, cards and tags. And you don't have to just use these ideas with the ephemera pack, but you can also use them for regular cards, any card design at all. So they give you lots of ideas. There's the stripes and florals mix and match cards and envelopes, and I'm going to show you some of that tonight. And that's only $10 for 10 cards. And then each one of the ephemera packs, and there's 5 of them, have 3 sets and of 5x7 pages, and there's 2 each, and lots of options. Like the Celebrate Love one is all about Valentine's. The washes and florals mix and match ephemera pack, those are tags. You've got birthday treats. You've got spring celebration, and then you've got the greetings for all, and it includes everything for all year long. Hey, Linda, thanks for joining me. So all of those, each one is $7, and you get 6 pages, 5x7 of cutouts. And then the best part is they give you these beautiful ideas that you can copy exactly, or you can use them as inspiration. So, I mean, that's 5 pages, actually. Yeah, 5 pages of inspiration. So I love that. They've given you so much that you can get inspired from. And even if you're not using these layouts for the ephemera, again, they'll work with any cards that you're trying to make. So let's get to it. So it started on page 10 and went to page 15. So this pretty much is like non-stamping card packs, but you can stamp on them, and I'll show you some of that as well. So we have like a pink floral, and I've used up all but 2. There's a pink floral card and envelope, and then there's this really nice blue stripes with a really nice, like a watercolor paper look. And you can't see the floral very easily on my camera. I wish you could, but there's just a very hint of a pattern. It's really pretty. So, okay. So I've shown you these before, and there's just all kinds of sentiments that are available. You've got Merry Christmas, congratulations, thinking of you. I've already used up all the feel better soon. And then they have these black ones here as well. Happy birthday to the grad. There's all kinds of stuff. Just tons and tons of options. So you could be using this all year long very easily. There's lots of Merry Christmas. There's Easter. I think there's even St. Patrick's Day in here. And then, of course, we've got the Easter celebration ones. So they've got some thank you, congrats, thinking of you. There's where the shamrocks are. Beautiful spring butterflies, birds, twigs, all kinds of fun stuff. Okay. These ones are all tags. I know I've shown you these before, but I'm just going through it one more time in case somebody is new. And so all these tags are great for gifts or layering when you're making cards or scrapbook pages. All right, and then this one's all about birthdays or celebrations. So you can see it's got some cakes, cupcakes, candles, happy birthday, happy day, celebrate, and then this beautiful trellis. So you can see these trellis pieces are really, really beautiful. I've used one of them. And then Valentine's, which that will be the last set of cards that I make for you. Really pretty. Just really pretty. Really, really pretty. I love this. This stuff is my favorite. So anyway, lots of options. All right. So the first thing I wanted to show you is I was making some quick and dirty birthday cards for some family members, and I wanted to just use DSP. And what I meant is I had 2 packs of paper and I wanted to work my way through it. And so I am using just the DSP to create cards. And how I did that, just show you, is I'm using just the DSP, but I put a piece of basic white cardstock. You can use 4 inches by 5 1/4, or you can use any size that you have left over, and a small piece on the outside so that the paper doesn't conflict with my primary object. And then I used some of the greetings for all mix and match, and this was just black and white, and I thought I'd use my markers to get it so that it coordinated with the paper. Isn't that fun? So it makes for a fun birthday card. And then of course I made a matching envelope. And then here's another fun one. So you can see, just really simple. All I did was add, this is from the birthday or wildflower birthday. And last one just using the cake. But again, I used the greeting from Greetings from All Seasons. So just let me show you how easy this is. So I have a get well soon. I have this beautiful floral, and this is from, again, the DSP is from the Wildflower Birthday Suite. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let me just grab a piece of cardstock here for the inside. So I'm just going to glue this on the inside. This isn't quite the right size. And this stabilizes the card, but yet it gives you some really pretty cards that are pretty on the inside and the outside. So isn't that lovely when you open it up? And then I just put a little piece that helps stabilize and also kind of just frames whatever it is I have going. And you can emboss this if you want to, but again, I'm trying to just come up with some really easy cards that I need. I've got a friend that's not feeling well, so I'm just going to send them a get well card. I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. And then just kind of figure out what direction I want it to go. And then I've got this really sweet little get well soon down at the bottom, and I'm just going to overlap it a little bit. And I'm using the mini dimensionals for it because it's so small. Wanted to make sure I can't see any of my comments any longer for some reason. There we go. All right, just checking. All right, so I can just pop this up like so. And I've got a beautiful card. All I need are some embellishments. And these really beautiful sequins are free during celebration. And they're called purple adhesive back sequins. And obviously you can tell there's more than purple. There's pink and white, or maybe it's like a iridescent. So any of those will work. And I'm just going to do a combination of the white and pink. Isn't that pretty? Just lovely. And it's just DSP. So if you've got extra DSP, don't be afraid to use it. And then I didn't have enough to cover my flap. So you can always glue it onto the outside down at the bottom. And I have enough room still for my address. And I'm just taking it all the way down to the bottom. You can leave a little bit of a border if you want. And then the excess, I'll just snip off. So isn't that cute? So super easy. These are just DSP cards, okay? But I'm using the ephemera pack for my sentiment because sometimes you just don't get the right sentiment, or it's hard to go through and find the right card or stamp set for your sentiment. Okay, so next I'm going to show you some cards that I made using the graphics that the catalog provided as inspiration, and I changed it up a bit. Okay, so just to show you how easy it is to copy them. Okay, so this card, I took a little bit of inspiration from that. And then I also took a little bit of inspiration from, oh, it's on their website, so it's not available here. So I took this, but what I did is I used when you go through and get to this, let me just show you how it works. So when you pull it out, there's a large one. There's one in the middle. And then you've got sentiment. So the one in the middle is kind of half white and half has a print on it. So what I did is I turned it over and I layered it at the base of this card. Okay, so in other words, I layered the two, and then I used some of the twigs from the back, and you can see how the twig is just a ring of twigs. And then I used a couple of little butterflies and a big one to layer on top, and then one of the flowers. Now the green I got from the birthday ephemera pack, but it had celebrate on it and I wanted it to say get well soon. So what I did is I used two of the butterflies to cover up the L and the B and the T and the exclamation mark. You can kind of see how I covered that up. So I just want you to see both of them. And then I put get well soon on there from this pack right through the middle of it. Okay, so you can just see that you can just mix and match. But if you noticed, I also have, let me turn this over. I also have some fun stamping that I've done on the back. And what I'm using is, let's find the stamp set. the elements of text. Can you see the splatters? I'm always looking for stuff like this because I add them to my scrapbook page. You can add them to the back of your stamp layers. But do you see how the little splatters just kind of take your card from, ooh, pretty to, oh, wow, that's so cool. So I used Petal Pink to kind of use, to bring in all the pink and the peach and the orange colors that are in the butterflies. So that's for this card. And then I did a Father's Day card same way, and I added the splatters in Balmy Blue before I put down my twig and my leaves. And those are, again, so you can see here's the eggs, here's the twig, and here's the leaves. Okay, so you can just kind of see how I put those together. And I did use inspiration here, but I didn't want the bird and the flowers. I wanted something that was a little more masculine. And I thought the eggs, the nest was enough. And then I used some of the sequins that are free through Celebration. Okay, so great card. Here's a fun little Valentine card. It could be for your son or for a friend or your husband. It's just really simple. Be mine. And I used 3 different items. I used 2 items from the Valentine pack and then 1 from the Greetings for All. And then, of course, I added some sequins just to kind of give it a little bit of bling. But this is just a simple, super simple card. And you don't have to make it complicated. And you can see that they've added some really great, simple cards for you to use as examples. Okay. Here's a Mother's Day card. I used this card as an example, but I changed it so it has the Angela thing. And so I've used that beautiful laser trellis, 2 of the flowers, and then another flower here. And then I used some gold twine. It's the gold twisted thread in a bow behind my sentiment. And then I added a mix of colors of the sequins. So you can see how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? A really pretty Mother's Day card. So don't be afraid to be inspired by the catalog. I think it's such a great tool. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I created both of these Valentine's cards. So this one is all in pink. And I used kind of a pink theme, pink sequins, and elements from the Valentine's card. But isn't that pretty? And then I stamped this in the background, and it just takes your car from ooh to wow, don't you think? And you can make it masculine for your husband just by doing it in blue and red instead of pink. Granted, there are some little flowers here, but I think he'll be okay with that. Okay, so let's use this largest stamp. And I'm going to use my largest stamp pad for my block. This is the E block. And I'm going to use some bubble bath for the pink card. And I'm not stamping it off or anything. I'm just using a nice bit of the pink. I'm just putting it here in the middle of the card. Okay, right where I want it. Okay, so from the Valentine, I am going to, oh, and I wanted to show you. Let me just get this out so you can see it. So not only did I decorate the card, but I decorated the envelope. Isn't that pretty? Just looks like a cute little seal. Okay, so I need one of these love yous. I need Valentine's Day, Happy Valentine's Day in pink. And I am going to need one of these pink hearts. And this is the red one for the blue card. So I need one of these pink flowers. And then these are so pretty. I just am in love with these. I'm going to need this little trellis. So isn't that pretty? And I'm going to need all of this. Now in the middle is really just kind of a piece that I don't really need, but I'm going to save it just in case I change my mind. And then here, you probably can't see very well, but I'm just going to use a couple of these, one for each card. All right. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I want to place my items, just kind of a dry run. And this is pretty much how things are going to be placed. And then I have this little trellis piece, I have this little Valentine overlapping, little floral, the love yous for the envelope, and this little flower here. Okay, and then I'll add some trim as well. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to add some glue dots, and I just roll these things up so it ends up being a long piece of glue. That way it doesn't show from behind. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to make this cattywampus over here to the left. Okay, and then the next thing I want to do is I want to put this down next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of overlap them, and I'm going to turn this upside down, make sure that it's straight, and I'm going to add 2 dimensionals, large ones, so it holds it in place and pops it up. Okay, but before I go any further, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a glue dot on paper, and then I'm going to take my ribbon or my twine. This is the gold twisted thread, and I am just going to place and create a bow without tying a bow. Can you see how I did that? I didn't tie it. I just looped it back and forth on a glue dot. So then all I have to do is place this about right here, I think. And then I can place my sentiment and the trellis that goes with it right over the top. And this is about where I want it. And then you can use glue dot or glue for this pretty thing, but I'm going to go ahead and glue it because it's kind of fragile and I don't want it to, and I'm just using tiny dots. Less is better than more when you're working with such small pieces. And I'm using my little tweezers because they help me when I have fat fingers. And it fits perfectly over it. And now I need a couple of dimensionals, and I'm going to just put the dimensionals so that it straddles the white heart behind. And then I'm just going to put my little Valentines right there. Okay, so now I want some flowers. Let me cut a smaller piece. And I am going to need another glue dot. And I'm going to roll it up again. And I'm going to place it on the stem of this white piece. And then I'm just going to place my glue dot down. That way I know that I'm not going to be sitting my flower glue dot on top of my sentiment. Okay, and now I can add my embellishments. Just a really nice mix of colors, just kind of incorporating all the colors that are in this card. Isn't that pretty? And I'm done. Except for the envelope. So I had a love you sentiment here somewhere. There it is. Okay, so now I'm just going to put glue on the top of my sentiment. So the top half. And I want to be careful not to put it anywhere near the little dots. You can see it's got little laser dots. And then I'm going to center it right here. And so granted, yes, this might stick out when I am gluing this down. So it'd probably come off in the mail. But typically when I've got something pretty and fragile like this, I will actually pay for hand stamped postage. So, all right, another beautiful Valentine. So now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it for the guy card. Okay, so let me just clean off this stamp. And I'm going to use Balmy Blue this time. I have no idea what this script says, but it's pretty and it just kind of gives it a little bit of a wow factor. You don't have to. You can do it without. But I do like that background. Makes me happy. All right. So same thing. I'm going to take this apart. And I do need the sentiment in red. So you can see they've got pink, red, and purple. and I just need a red one. So the nice thing about this is actually you've got all these sentiments. So if you think about it, if you're doing Valentine's for your kids, they can decorate themselves. They can put the sentiment on that they want to. I mean, granted, this is a little fragile, but I think it's a great kit to use even for your kids' Valentine's. And if you want a smaller card, remember the Assorted Memories and More cards and envelopes have these little cards and envelopes that are perfect for Valentine's for your kids' class. Isn't that great? So you could just decorate with any of these and use the catalog as your inspiration on how you do it, because they've got some great ideas for a smaller medium, because they're giving you examples of not just cards, but they're also giving you examples of tags. So you can see that you can decorate it in a small medium as well, not just a big card. Okay. All right, so same process as before. So you can see the rolled up glue dots. Let me get it closer to you. So you can see I've got a glue dot here, a glue dot here, and one there. I don't need a lot because it's covered with other things, so I don't think it's going anywhere. Okay, this one will need to be glued on. Okay. So once again, I'm taking the trellis and I'm overlapping it with the sentiment about where I want it. I'm flipping it over. I'm adding 2 dimensionals. I need a little bit of this twine. So I'm just going to use a glue dot, place my ribbon or the twine. So I know I've shown this to some of you before, but I always snip a little spot where I can put my trim so that it keeps it in place and it doesn't unravel. Okay. So another way that you can place your trim is you can place your sentiment where you want it. And then you can place your bow where you want it as well. Do you see how I did that? Okay. All right, I'm going to put 2 dimensionals again. So my heart is popped up on both sides of the heart. It's already down. And I'm just overlapping it. If you notice one thing about my cards tend to have everything touching. I don't tend to put things out by themselves very often, just because I feel like it makes a better composition if everything is touching just a little bit. So like this one is, you know, everything's really close. But now this one, it's not touching, but it's really close, so that it just kind of draws your eye back and forth in the same area. And it's just a really good habit to get into if you just kind of put things together so that they're all touching. They seem to be a lot more cohesive. They look like they belong together. Okay, now I've got my last little floral bunch. And I want to make sure I'm not covering up any of the sentiment. And then rather than using pink or anything else, I'm using the white sequins only. And that way my man's not getting his sensibilities offended. Or the men in my life. Okay, so this I need Be Mine for the card. Because for this one I used Be Mine instead of Love You. But you could use Love You if you want to. I mean, it's not like my husband isn't already mine, but just in case. All right. Or you could put the little flags with the X's and O's or the kisses or whatever. So again, I'm just going to put glue on the top portion, just under all the little dashed holes. There we go. Doesn't that make for a cute card? All right. So I have one last card to show you. Because if you're not wanting to use the, oh, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. If you're not wanting to use the ephemera, or not the ephemera, but the cards and envelopes, you want to use your own. Well, I wanted to show you a fun trick. So I was making some cards for a card swap. And this was using the storybook. And when you make this cute frame, you get all of these little squares. And I was like, I know I can use these. They're so perfect. You know, they're just, it's really hard to throw something like this away and not use it. And I don't want to catch myself hoarding stuff and not doing something with it. So what I did is I tried a couple of sheets with this pattern, making it kind of like a tile pattern, offset. So, and then I put it through the embossing machine and gave it a texture so that it looked like really fancy tiles. And then I used the birthday ephemera pack. Now, I could have this be a happy birthday, which is what I've done. I've just used one of the happy birthdays. Or I could take the candles off and make this into a wedding card. I think it would make a really beautiful wedding card as well. So let me just show you how I did it. So these all came, I made 34 of these. So I had tons of these left over. Okay. As it works out, they fit perfectly on a 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece of cardstock. So I'm just using basic white, and then I have enough for these two pieces, and then I'll have 3 left over, or 4 left over, but it's not enough to do anything. And I don't have any sentiments this size, and this tends to be a little dark, but I could do white heat embossed. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue in the corner. Probably don't need that much glue, but, and then I'm going all the way to the edge, trying to keep it on the cardstock. Okay. And then I'm going to do the other corner. And then I can glue the one in the middle. And you can just separate it enough that there's a tiny bit of white showing. It's almost like it's grout. It's kind of fun. And then same thing up in these corners. I'm going to do the corners first. Lining it up with the corners. So those are the easiest to do. Otherwise, I would have these in a little bag and they'd be on my desk for a couple of weeks. And then they would get shoved back and become one of those miscellaneous things that you tend to hoard and you never use. It's a clever idea, but you need to actually do it. Okay, so this one's going to get right in the middle of these two. And then I'll put another piece here and another one here. And I'll have to cut those off. And then after I've cut them off, I can just emboss it, or I can actually even just decorate it the way it is. So if you find yourself with a ton of frames from the Storybook Moments Sweet Collection, you can make one of these as well. And then decorating it, it's just super easy. I'm going to use this really pretty cake. I'm not going to use the birthday cards this time because I've decided I want it to be for a wedding. And then I'm going to do Celebrate. Oops, just one. And then, you know, what would be really pretty? That would be pretty too. Just an unusual background. I'm going to save that for something else. Okay, so I used these, and then I think this came from the spring set, the florals that came with it. Yep. Just thought the colors were very, very similar. It's really pretty. I could just keep doing this because this is just the best. Now, I think instead of gluing this down, I think I'm going to pop it up. It's really pretty. And I'm going to use some dimensionals down here. The last time I made the cake, I didn't. I just glued it right down to the cardstock front. I think actually I was trying to cover up a gap. That's what I was doing. All right. So I need a little bit of trim. So it's easiest if you just lay the glue dot down, and then you just figure out about how long you want your tail. This way you never have too much of the trim. You just cut it right where you need it. And this thing keeps unraveling, which makes a huge mess. Okay. So now this time I want this right here. And then add just a couple of dimensionals. Don't want too many, so I can put my little florals here as well. And you can, put them wherever you want. You don't need to put it like I did. But I just used some little mini dimensionals for these because these are smaller. I'm going to put the greenery in first, and then I'll put my little pink flowers in second. And then I'm just going to add, and actually I could use both the pink and the white iridescent. They're all kind of iridescent. I'm going to do 7 of these instead of 5, just because they're so pretty. Just going to put my little ribbon. And then I just need to add it to a card. And this is just a piece of basic white that I embossed with the little tiles on it. Isn't that pretty? Just really easy, and I used the ephemera. I didn't have to stamp anything, so it made it super easy. So, all right, well, I hope that you enjoyed tonight. If you're watching later on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're watching it on Facebook, be sure to love it. The more loves I get, the better my little business does. So thank you so much. Again, Angela with Wild Violet's Art. Have a great evening. Get some good rest.